Experience has caused a lot of people who said, oh, I'm really uncomfortable doing dance. I don't think I'll teach dance. I'll get someone else to teach dance. Or some of the guys say, well, we'll let the women teach the dance. I actually could say by the end, I can be a dance teacher. I could actually do this. And if you go and talk to Lauren Thompson, she got hired, and her first experience was because she could teach dance. And Lauren Thompson isn't a dance teacher. She just did that. Teacher at Brayford, because she could do creative dance. The chairs are here for you guys. What's up? Yeah, can you come right here? Where's that guy? I didn't know it was short weather. All right. So with that in mind, I just want to go through the course outline and then answer any of your questions, but also set up what will be expectations for this term. And then we'll do some little practical exercise inside the gym, and then a couple of things here I'm going to show you. I'll then have a computer lab open if you want to do before you go on to your next class, just to make sure that you haven't missed out anything. Right?
Do you have any extra?
Yep.
We don't have.
Good. How many more?
One more.
And two more.
Oh yeah, two more. Pass back for Emily and Natalie. Staying on the same bus. Same car.
Can we have one too?
Okay.
Could we have two more?
Yeah.
Ready. Brilliant. Got it? Yeah. Good. Good. Look, just check the video cameras on.
I don't know.
It's on.
Listen, thanks, Ben. Right. So, just doing the top bit, I will again use Wednesdays probably 10 to 11 as office hours. And if you come in, I'll probably meet you in the forum to do it. But if you make sure you tell me beforehand, we could always meet here if there's a reason you want to meet to do something that's in the gym. But on Wednesdays, I try and work in the clock. That is also a good opportunity if you want to come and talk to me about ideas that you may have, one, for improving the class or something that you're confused with, or if you've got an extension assignment idea you want to start developing, that's the time to come and see me. I will be putting up all the extension assignments from last term, and people did some substantially fantastic extension assignments that you will all probably benefit having access to. So what I've done is I've set up here, you'll see a group on folios for this class. And I'm experimenting with using this and linking it to Course Ed, but basically this becomes the front end, and it's working very well. And I had this amazing realization last night when I was doing it. At the end of term, you can just go copy, and this will go into your e-portfolio and become basically your own portfolio of the course. So everything we do on this folio group, you will then be able to take with you and keep. Isn't that amazing? I thought it was amazing. You're really amazing. I get people emailing me 5 years after this course, asking me for stuff. Right? You just had it. It's brilliant. I didn't realize it until I did it. Oh, this is it. Moving forward. So this is going to be the first thing I'll show you what I want you to do so you can log into it. The readings will be the car line to start off with. And then next week I'll start assigning you to a sign reading in your groups. And we'll do that slightly differently in that you as a group will have responsibility to finish those readings by a certain date. Last year I did it this way, and the idea would be that you could either do it linearly like I've organised previously, or as a group you could get them all in together. And the idea is the readings will be applied to the assignments we do. So as long as you've analysed them and got them all set up, you can then apply those readings. And they're all divided up into areas that make sense based on the course content. But to start off with, it's going to be the reading I'll assign you today and the car line text, and then I'll feed those readings into your groups. Right? That will start to work out. The idea of this class is it builds on 310. And the nice thing is, as you start joining our folios group, your face will appear down here. There's my student Tim, there's my teacher Tim. This is Patrick, he runs folios. And because we're doing it, he's joined our group to see how well this works using folios. But all your names will appear here. And what's really cool is you can click on any name and go straight to their portfolio. You see the idea there? there's content that Gavin has that actually you might find interesting, right? So the whole of your learning last term in all your courses you did are at a fingertip away, and Laura can catch up straight away just by clicking on a few people's faces and see, well, what did they do last term? And she has a good e-portfolio as well from 2 years ago. I may have to sit down, Laura, and remind her how to use it, but yes, she will be able to use the same thing. So on the readings, there will be a link that you'll see all the PDFs, so you're not buying any text. What you are going to buy, or we haven't done so up to now, is one of these yoga mats. Right? And the nice thing is, if you want to, you can store it in here. But you need to have a way of labeling it, because I only had 3 yoga mats last term, and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yoga mats, because 4 people didn't pick their yoga mats up. Which means I have a few spares, if you forget yours. But everyone needs a yoga mat, and yoga will be used throughout the term in little increments. And so by the end of this term, you all will feel totally comfortable teaching yoga to children in class. And again, I've done this now for the last 2 years, and teachers are telling me, your colleagues are now teachers, we're going out, oh my God, this has helped me physically as a teacher, as well as giving me something I can teach kids. By giving the habit of just doing a little bit of yoga, I'm actually building the other part of the curriculum, that mental health side, because I'm doing the physical but in a mentally healing way, right? Which is what actually Shannon was getting at last time when we were doing the meditation, a way of using stillness as part of a physically healthy existence, rather than just running all the time, which is the purpose we sort of get behind physical activity and health, which isn't necessarily that healthy if you just do that. So I'm going to work that into the class throughout the term. So you need a yoga mat, and when you bring one, store it in here, make sure you have a way of labeling it so it's yours. Okay? And we'll bring them out, or we'll just bring it each time because you may be using yoga at the weekend and you need your mat. Just bring it to class. Is that good? Good? And I'm amazed at the range of motion you will start seeing my body get as I do it more regularly, because by teaching you, I get better too. Becomes a habit. The key content will be dance, gymnastics, alternative environments, and dual individual activities, which yoga is now part of that dual individual activities idea. So it builds into that notion of how we take care of ourselves. Dance will be done as a way of helping you teach across the curriculum, just like the book here talks about. Dance then becomes a vehicle for exploring concepts, big ideas that you're doing in the classroom start to become part of PE, because dance becomes an expression of an idea that now you can use it through a dance form. Gymnastics will be an extension. What we found last 2 years doing it is yoga and gymnastics start to work quite nicely together because it's core body strength. The difference is gymnastics is you start to move that body through its environment, but through the yoga you're developing that core ability to take weight on hands, to balance your body, to actually control yourself in your personal space, and then learn how to do that in your general space. Gymnastics is particularly good for helping kids learn how to be safe. Kids will climb, kids will roll, kids will fall. If no one teaches them how to do it properly, they will hurt themselves. The problem is, teachers say, oh, I can't do gymnastics because I don't feel safe. Well, you're not really a teacher now, because as soon as your kids leave your classroom, they're going out and they're going to do these things. So someone has to teach them how to land properly, how to use their bodies, and if you don't, you are setting them up to hurt themselves, or worse, to not do something because they're fearful, which then leads to inability to be active as you get older and older. Right? So gymnastics becomes that. It's not like the artistic gymnastics, though it's like foundational for doing that. You do lead towards some of those more Olympic type movements that you see, but it's more about how your body moves safely through its environment. Okay? That becomes the key content of the course. As I've then written down here, the critical features is I'm very much committed towards you becoming confident teaching phys ed. I felt I got that from you last term, though I still got from some people this sort of didn't learn what I thought I was going to learn. Well, I'm trying my best, but you have to basically step up to what it is that I'm giving you opportunities of learning. And I can only make it authentic by putting kids in front of you and you see what they need to learn as you're learning how to do it yourself. And that's the way the course will work. And I call that school integrated education, right? And so to help you understand that, what I've done is your first reading is this one here, which is actually a total reading about this class. So I wrote this about 2 years ago with students in this class as a way of understanding what's the learning process that goes on when you integrate things inside a school. And in particular, how did the course that you're now taking get to the structure that it now has? Because I don't think any other classes you take go out to schools. Correct me if I'm wrong. Seminar class goes out to schools maybe last term?
Yeah.
Right? This term, have you got drama? No.
Yeah.
Oh, with Phil?
No.
No.
With Robin. All right, I'll see Robin. That class might take you out to schools as well, because Phil has been doing the same thing. Right? Phil Duchesne is taking out and working with children. So the first reading will be this one. What I want you to do is you'll log on to Folios, and then you're going to join this group. Once you join this group, your face will appear down here. Once you join this group, your next task is just to click on this link here that will take you to the course blog. The first time you click it, you're logging into Course Ed, so you might have to log in to your account. I'm not sure until you do it how that will work, because you're slightly different to me. But once you logged in here, you click on this, then that will put you inside our Course Ed setup. But my goal is that most of what you'll do will not be actually inside Course Ed, it will be on the folios. But you'll be linking to that course in the background. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, Laura, for you?
I hope so.
You can log back in the folios? If you're
No,
not,
I can't remember my password.
so if you do the reset,
Okay.
right? If you can't even remember your logging ID, then email me. But as long as you've got that right,
I don't even know if I have that. I might have to email
just
you.
email me, we can
Okay.
figure it out. But once you log in and you join the group, then that will appear on the side here with your groups to link to. Once you get that, this will keep developing as I'm building it up. But one thing down here is if you're thinking about extension assignment, here is the template, right, that you can then use to start developing it. And those that were doing it last term or had an extension but didn't quite do it, you can now revise that, put it back in and structure it again to work through it this term. The blogs that are working through, this will be the same link is here, but this term you're going to be with a partner.
Whoa.
People might say, how can you reduce the work? In pairs, and then one person each week does a blog, and the other person just responds. That's less work for one of those people. Now you rotate it next week, you just keep rotating out, but you co-create the same blog. See? Yeah? Isn't that clever?
So clever.
Okay. It's not quite hard, but it's producing what you perceive as work, but it's still engaging in the content, right? But that will start next week, right? But I just want you to log in to make sure that we're all able to locate the group and be part. Like Tanisha is probably already on it. There's no badge for joining the
I already called my like certificate. I'm good.
but I'm tempted to get you one. Right. All right. So that's your first two jobs. Get logged in there, and is to do the reading. And the first reading is this one here about the course. We will on Monday. We will discuss what this article gets at, and in relation to these things I'm going to keep coming back to, because the new curriculum is organised in structure, so I'm going to try and use it as a way of thinking. What's the content this article is talking about? What competencies are we trying to get at that people are learning inside the course? And what are the big ideas that this article is trying to get across? Because I wrote it, the big idea is very much about understanding learning in a different way. How does learning really happen? Garrett's going to like this philosophically because it's going to get at what is the notion of how we understand learning without it being just filling ourselves up with information. In particular, you'll notice the idea is learning as an organic event. And by organic, I mean your structure actually changes. And that's learning. So rather than just being content that goes in your head, the idea of content leads to some type of competency, a thing you can do. And when you do something, your structure changes. And if you reflect on that, you start to have a big idea that you now can do something or understand something you couldn't previously understand. So new curriculum is built around the same idea of how we understand learning, not as information. Because in the world we live in right now, the old curriculum, I can access through any electronic device any trivia information. If I double check Syria and ask the question properly, she will tell me the answer, which is what the old curriculum of school used to be based on. The new curriculums of school now are increasingly about processes you can engage in based on content you can acquire that you can then apply. So the curriculum you are going to go into in schools is shifting drastically, which is affecting the university here because it has to think about how to shift the way in which we help you become teachers for that type of curriculum, when our curriculum is still a lot of content. Right? So what's the most important content is normally what the instructor feels most comfortable teaching. May not be the most important content for you to be a teacher at the school. It's very difficult. One thing that struck me last term, when I looked at your videos for EdTech, was how diverse, quickly, you all were working with teachers in different apps, and that you learned apps that I didn't know how to use, but you just took 5-10 minutes, started playing with it, had a reason for it, and became experts, and the teacher was like over the moon at how well you did that. So it wasn't about teaching you a particular app, it was about finding an app that fit a process that the teacher wanted to happen in the class, and you made that happen. And from those videos, and from the teacher's comments I've heard, things happened that were really good. Right? And that's the type of curriculum that we're trying to look for. How do you make things apply to move things forward in a way that helps people learn, in particular, connect to understand big ideas that will affect society? Is that good? So, if you turn over, the same as last term, Gamukula, I'm trying to develop that felt energy, starting with your partner that you don't know about yet until next week. But when you log on, you might be able to figure out who it is. But on Monday, I'll show you your secret partner that you're going to work with throughout this term. The idea of kwekwa, which is put the learning of your peers before your own. If you do that, 34 times more you'll learn because you're helping each other. Right? And someone else is looking after you as well as you be responsible for your own learning. The idea of leaving something behind, and when you see the extension summits last term, you'll see in particular how people have made resources for you that I'll be using in this class with you, and next year, and the year after, and the year after, because they are going to substantially help you do your job. Because what they've done is something they're passionate about, but also applies to what you need as a teacher. Which also means they've energized the community, and I can't say that one. I can't remember how it sounds. I have to listen to it again. Right? But the energizing, the passion, I think it's accurate. No, I can't do it. But I'll listen to it next week. And those are the things I try to drive the whole class by. Any questions up to that point? Matty, we good at the back? Good. Like last term, I will be doing the mastery notion of up to the B+. But I've tried to play it around it a little bit to give you more choice. So 1, 2, and 3, you have to do at a professional level. And if you do that, it's a B. You then do number 4, which is basically your final assignment around developing a term plan using units you've already planned in this term. Right? You start to develop what would it look like in the term, which basically prepares you for whatever practicum you do here, because your last practicum is a 9-week one. But also, you should have enough resources to do the 3-week practicum, but to think about how you might schedule a term using resources you developed in the class. However, if you find you don't want to do that, and you want to do one of those in the list beneath, you could substitute. In the past, I've always done it 1, 2, 3, 4, and then extensions. But I've sort of given it a chance where some of you may want to do more of some of the listed things down beneath, and rather than do number 4, I'm giving you a choice, right? But normally it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 is your B+. And then if you want to do an extension, any of those listed or propose to yourself allows you to do extensions. But you might want to negotiate with me to change the 4 for something down in the A- to A+ range. Right? So there's flexibility. The reason I'm doing that, I'm trying to build choice. You know what you need to learn to help you develop your skills to be a teacher. I can only assume what I think will help you do the job well, but I want you to take as much control of that as you can, which again is in line exactly with the new curriculum. Trying to build in projects that students can make more choices about that help them learn, rather than every single kid doing the same thing and then getting measured on the same yardstick, even though some kids start way ahead of other kids. So the measurement is not really fair, it's just finding who came in with certain abilities, not what they necessarily learned inside the class. I want you to use this course to maximize your learning. And in doing that, maximizing the learning of your peers, because you can always find everybody else just by clicking on the list. Has anybody joined Tanisha? Oh, Beth is on next. Well done, Beth. Okay, any questions throughout that? Does that sound good? I'm looking forward to this term. The good thing is, I'm going to be very busy, but not as busy as last term. Last term almost killed me. Oh yeah, I know. You don't know what other things are going on around. So I'm trying to have a good term this term. Right? Not as drained. And the last few years, everybody has the most wonderful experience at a dance concert. One of my best experiences, and this has happened more than once, but last year, one of the parents came up, a dad, came up to one of your colleagues, and she'd never taught dance before, and the lesson had gone really well with the group, and he said, I just want to tell you, my son Sam, who hated dance, dances all the time now. You changed him. I'm like, oh my God. Right? So, if you can have a full lesson experience where something like that happens, and you've actually opened up the ability to move in an expressive way for a kid for the rest of their life, that is an incredible gift. Right? Because you meet people, you connect with people in ways that you wouldn't normally if you just sit beside watching everybody else dance. So with that, I'm going to take you in the gym in a minute to teach you how to dance. So just so you know what's going on, whenever I do anything in class, and this is for Laura to know, because it's slightly different from last year, Laura, is I created or played with an instructor blog, which means last term stuff is all here, but this term stuff is now building. So this is the stuff I'm putting out for this class. Also, everything from the previous blogs is always there, right? So it's sort of linked back to 310. But for today, we're going to work on these movement concepts that I introduced to you a little bit last term. That is about looking at how human movement, so what is moving, how it's moving, effort quality, where it's going, and in relation to, so you describe all human movement using these movement concepts. The reason why we use these movement concepts is they allow you as a teacher not to focus in on just doing like Dominic, but Dominic's pathways are really interesting, but Melanie is playing around with levels at the same time. And look at the change in speed and weight that Cynthia does. So you can actually play around with drawing from the class different qualities that make movement ability to express. And a teacher, when you know these movement concepts and can apply them, just like actually Shelby did when we did last term, you start to draw that out of you to get that mirage effect. These were describing your movements in terms that allowed you to extend your vocabulary of movement. You are able then to start to increase your expression of what you're trying to do. So if I click on this, let's just get on that lesson. The key thing now is dance is about the ability to express, right? Expression can become structured towards a certain cultural dance, which is more like folk dances, or dances like swing or ballroom, right, that have a cultural significance. But for young kids, you've got to teach them how to move freely to music, and then gradually, if the need is and they want to do it, you start structuring it towards those more formal adult dances. And so by the time you get to grade 4, 5, 6, they can start to become more structured, but earlier on, you want to do it at a stage where they are moving with a limited structure, but enough to allow it to make sense based on an imagery idea or an expression of a storyline. Right? So what you're working from is this family of action words that you'll read inside Sally's book, and then steps of formation start to go towards more formalized types of dance. Games we did last term was really about these functional movements that we do in relation to all games, and you're given the movement vocabulary to play all types of games. Remember that then fed into games categories, and then tactically had different sophistications, but all those things fit to society. And gymnastics takes that sort of functional expressive and puts it into a challenge, but then gradually you can express within that challenge how to move effectively. Right in the middle is dance, is totally about the spirit of the dancer, bringing out that expressive quality. And the more confidence people have doing that, the better they become as movers to music and with others. So what I'll be focusing on is that middle part for the start of this first part of this term. The key competency to develop is the ability to express the nature of human movement. Below are these movement concepts that you are going to need to keep looking at and starting to learn and then apply. When you come to teach your peers, you'll be using these all the time. And when you go to school, you'll start to see how different types of movements emerge based on the task you say, and then feed it back to the kids, and gradually the dance starts to take structure. And then down the bottom here, this is what I'm going to do with you now. It's called a village dance. It's like a creative folk dance. So I'm not doing a folk dance as in a formal folk dance. I'm doing what I would do to feed up if I wanted to study a formal folk dance. Folk dance is usually very popular in the 80s and 90s, but a lot of people suffered under folk dances because, like a dance called Chaise Bogarde, two circles formulating, you're doing all sorts of things, and it was in Czechoslovakia in the hills, and they used to do this dance. It doesn't make sense to a grade 3 kid, right? The reason why we had that dance is the females were in the middle and the males on the outside. The males and the females never saw each other for 6 months because they were out working. So they had to do a dance where they kept changing partners lots because they needed to propagate. So somehow to make sure the males and the females connected. That dance makes total sense now. But you need to study it, because it's the survival of the human race was that dance. But if you cause a kid to do that dance, without no meaning, it didn't make any sense. Right?
Try that. 4 on the outside.
Yeah, what?
Then rotate by like quick blind dating, that's what it was. Well, in a dance, right? But that was why they did it. But unless you studied that, you wouldn't understand why. And grade 3 would not understand why, and wouldn't want to touch it. Right. So anyway, we're going to do a creative folk dance, and you'll notice when I do this, these are the characteristics. There'll be a clear beginning, middle, and end, a sequence of movements, communicate your spirit of your dancing. I'll go through a progression, action, direction changes, pathways, effort, relationships, formations will start to form. And I'll do that in this sort of sequence by a teacher, and then you, as a learner, will go through these phases of learning. Right? And gradually I'll build your movement vocabulary to do the dance. Okay? So we're going to go and do that now, and then we'll unpack it. And you can link to this for next week when we do the start of the blog. Is that good? Okay. You can leave your stuff here, and we'll go next door.
Huh?